Hello, everyone, and welcome back to VR Pre-Algebra. So I'm loving our new environment here. Looks like we are a college class upgraded from middle school. So today we're going to talk more about spheres. We talked about the equation and why it is what it is on Thursday. And so now today we are going to just dive in. So as you remember from Thursday, it took two cones with the same radius filled up to fill that sphere with the same radius. And so that equation turned out to be 4/3 times pi r cubed. All right, so let's do some examples and go over those steps today. So in our presentation here, we are going to talk about the volume of spheres, the steps that it takes to solve the problem, as well as some examples. And you're going to find an example at home, just as we have been doing. All right, so here are our steps. So your first step is always to find the radius. If you have diameter, you are going to split that number in half and you have your radius. So these are the same first steps for cylinders as well as spheres. So next you would cube the radius for this one. So before, when you would square something, it would be that base number times itself. And now you're just going to do that 3 times. So 5 times 5 times 5 would be 125. And your next step would be to multiply by pi, and then you would multiply by 4, which is in the top of that fraction of 4/3. So you multiply by the numerator, divide by the denominator. So you can multiply by 4 and then pi, or multiply by pi and then 4. It does not matter the order. And lastly, just as we did with volume of cones, you are going to divide by 3. So we are going to round to the nearest tenths today, but you know, if I asked you to round to the nearest hundredth, that just means you're going to have 2 places after that decimal. All right, so let's do an example here. So remember, we have the red fidget here in the room, and we can just take this and throw it out, and it's going to come right back to us. So if we were to measure this fidget, it would be 2 inches for its radius. Okay, and that makes the diameter all the way across 4 inches. So if you have a radius of 2 inches, then we are going to take that radius and cube it. So 2 times 2 times 2, what do you get? Absolutely, should be 8. 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. So now you are going to have 8 times 3.14 times 4. Please put that into your calculator. Again, 8 times 3.14 times 4. Last step here, divide by 3. And then we're going to round that number. So in your calculator, you should have 33.49. And so that, when we round it to the nearest tenth, you're looking at the 9 and the 4 becomes a 5. So your final answer is approximately 33.5 cubic inches. All right, our next example, let's say you have an orange in your fridge. Let's measure it. So we have a radius of 3 inches. Well, that's kind of a big orange. We can call it a grapefruit. But we're going to find the volume of this fruit nonetheless. So 3 inches, you are going to cube that number. 3 times 3 times 3. And you should get 27. So now in your calculator, please type in 27 times 3.14 times 4 and then divide by 3. So that's the pattern that we need to get used to for volume of a sphere. I'll say that one more time. 27 times 3.14 times 4 divided by 3. And so then we are going to round that number to the nearest tenth. And in your calculator right now, you should have 113.04. So when we're rounding to the nearest tenth, we're going to look at the 4 in the hundredths place. That 4 makes your 0 stay the same. So your answer would be 113.0 cubic units, because you want that 0 to hold the place. Now, I absolutely would accept 113 for your answer, but just realize that the 0 holds the 10th place. All right, and your last thing is to find a sphere in your home. I'll give you some examples in a minute, but always remember the equation 4/3 times pi r cubed helps you find the volume of a sphere. And so when you are finding this at home, again, you can use an online ruler that will easily decipher that measurement for you and make it realistic. And so you could find the diameter and then divide by 2, or just find the radius right away. Make sure that you cube your radius, multiply by 4 and 3.14, and then divide by 3. So you can always refer back to this presentation. I will include the link for you so that you can always look back at these steps and make sure that you get this right on the Google form today. So here are some examples for you. What you can look for: blueberries or grapes, whatever you think those are. We got soccer ball, basketball, globe, and then an ornament. So definitely some good examples for you to find at home. Be creative. Make sure you tell me what the item is, describe it, and then find the volume. So the only thing you need to know for spheres is the radius. So you can find diameter first and then find the radius, and then you're done. From there, you can calculate it using the equation that we know. All right, guys, that's all for me today. So please hope you enjoy the video. Please take your steps, and please know that our spheres unit is going to go a little faster than cylinders and cones did. We will not be doing HRW for this part of volume. Okay, so Khan Academy tomorrow. And then we'll do the Google form worksheet that's a little tougher on Wednesday. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed the show. See you next time, and study hard. Thanks.